thought since we'd been chatting for 3 weeks that you knew everything about me? These were all shot here?
My house is my studio.
I recognize this girl.
The things you do wrong, they haunt you.
This is officially sick.
I have never hurt anyone!
It's just so easy to blame a kid.
Who are you?
Playtime is over.
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Show.
This week, we are discussing the horror classic.
The comedy classic, Hard Candy.
Not a comedy.
No, it is
Not a comedy. Starring
No.
Patrick Wilson and Elliot Page. Good times.
Ay.
I had only heard about this movie, and I think if you got it from the same place, was from the 50 greatest horror movies you've never seen documentary.
It was either, is that the one with Eli Roth or whatever?
I think it's the one with PJ Souls as the host.
Oh,
I think that's the
that
one.
loses some of the cred, but
Right. Well, there's. I mean, they're all,
PJ Souls, our friend from Rock and Roll High School, and Carrie.
and Carrie and Halloween.
Yeah.
She's all over the map. There are really good horror documentaries on Shudder right now. There's one called In Search of Darkness, which deals primarily with like horror movies from the 80s, which is really cool. But it has like real celebs, like here's Joe Bob, or here's Bruce Campbell, or whoever, Tom Atkins. The 50 greatest horror movies you've never seen is hosted by PJ Souls, but then it's like a murderer's row of kind of deep bloggers as the commentators. That doesn't mean they don't have interesting things to say. It just means that I don't know who the hell these people are.
I don't know who the hell you are.
Right.
I also
That's right.
got some names because a couple years ago I was in Seattle and they have a museum of pop culture. Every time I go up there, the museum is a different name. So, and they had a list of the 100 greatest horror movies. So it was either one of those two that I got the name of this, because no, I had never heard of this.
It's interesting because Patrick Wilson, and Elliot Page, neither one were household names at all when this movie came out. Like, this was kind of what they did before they became people that we recognize.
I was wondering about that because,
Yes.
it must have been, if it was before, if it was after, either way, it would have been right on the cut. Absolutely look like how I remember them. It's not, It's not like they're so young or they're so old.
This is probably a year or two before Juno.
Okay.
And Patrick Wilson had been, I think he was already in like Phantom of the Opera at this point. He
Poor
was already
Patrick Wilson.
in.
I'm never going to look at him the same way.
Isn't that crazy? He was in a couple. He was like in the Alamo. With
Whatever. Really?
Billy Bob.
And what do I love him in?
Like nothing at this point. It wasn't until a couple years later.
In real life, not in real life. What movie is my favorite movie that he's in?
The Conjuring.
The Conjuring. I love The Conjuring.
That was like 5 or 6 years later, or something.
And the funny thing is, the character that he plays, the real life character, had some issues with young girls and such.
Is that true?
Not quite
Earl
this
Warren?
Earl Warren. Not quite maybe this young, but young. Yeah, maybe 2 years
older.
older.
We're going to talk about
older.
this. Give us your 30-second synopsis of Hard Candy.
All right, here it is. Girl on internet gets picked up, is being scoped out by clearly an older man. It's like ripped from the headlines.
Right.
They meet at the most awesome coffee shop called Nighthawks, where literally, if that was in my town, I'd be hanging out there every day, just eating desserts and drinking good coffee.
Right.
And why does a girl that young even know about such a place? Because it was awesome. Anyway.
But is it weird that there'd be a coffee shop called Nighthawks? Who drinks coffee at night?
Because it's based on that.
No, I know. I know. It just seemed like a shoehorn. Like if it was a bar called Nighthawks, I got it. Or like in a 24-hour diner called Nighthawks, I got it. That's all I'm saying. Continue.
I don't know. After a cup of your coffee, maybe you're wandering the streets at 4 a.m. So because it's like Four Loko or something.
Could be. I can't even have a Coke Zero after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Or
I just had a Diet Pepsi. I'll be up till midnight finishing off this Halston thing on Netflix. But I digress. Thank you. First of all, so he's a photographer. So I started getting the vibe like there was that photographer who took that chick out into the desert and killed her. So I was getting that vibe. And they go back to the house and he looks like he's in charge, but I kept watching her. I'm like, no, something up. Something up. And for sure, something is up. It was The Hunter is Hunted.
Right.
It is a revenge. The whole time I thought she must be the friend of the missing girl. Because
so you sniffed that out.
Well, they made a point of showing like a bulletin board at the coffee house with the missing girl. I mean, shit like that in movies, you know, it serves a purpose. So I'm always like, when people are gibbering away, I'm always scoping out the whole background, you know.
Right.
So I thought that's what it was, and it was not. So she's going through this whole torture thing, castration, torture. She is the boss. Mm-hmm. And even convinced this mofo to kill himself. And then it's revealed
spoiler alert
that he actually worked in teams with somebody else and was in fact involved. And then as it turns out, she already knew that because she killed the other guy who was involved.
Right.
So we don't know the whole story about this, but this is one intense movie. I had a stomach ache the whole time.
Oh, it's serious business.
It is serious business. Now we're going to go into more detail, but that's about the gist of it.
Right. It's basically a sting, if you will, where it's like she's trying to get back at the guy or guys in this case.
Yeah.
Who made her friend disappear, her underage friend.
We don't even know if they're friends.
No, that's true.
We don't even know that. That is not established. This could be. I kept thinking maybe she's like little Dexterina. This is how she gets out her evil or something.
Well, and that's the thing about this, which is interesting, is you know she's not exactly what she's claiming to be.
First of all, the minute she stripped, I said, "This is not the body of a teenager. This is an adult body."
Well, no, I think she is supposed to be young. I think she is supposed to be 14 in the court. Like she's like 17 in real life.
I'm just talking about the actress. She was ripped to the bone. This is not your regular. She is a small person.
She is
a youthful looking person, but when she didn't have her shirt on, I could see her stomach and all that. It wasn't like the teenager soft body. This is not. This is a hard body. So to me, I thought there was going to be some reveal that she's in fact an adult and this is just what she do. But that was not the case.
But that's the thing. Is like she is really the aggressor.
Yeah.
It's basically like what they call in legal terms entrapment. Like she's kind of say, hey, why don't you take me back to your place?
100% setup.
And he's like, well, I don't know. He's kind of playing it cool. He's not jumping on it. But when he does start mixing the drinks, because she makes a point to say, after she's got him in her clutches, she's like, I'm a little girl. So when I flirt with you, you ignore it. You don't encourage it.
Absolutely.
If I say, let me get a drink, you stop me. You don't say, let me get you another.
Exactly.
Which is absolutely true.
She absolutely schooled him. I will tell you a weird story about when I was in the teacher program. There was a dude who was a student teacher at the same time, and he's teaching senior classes, and these girls are trying to set him up with their older sisters, and they're bringing him coffee. Right. And I'm like, dude, don't be stupid. Don't be freaking stupid.
Right.
As far as I know, he's not teaching and didn't finish the program. Praise Jesus! But I was like, do I need to fucking say something?
Well,
I'm like,
you
really,
have to be
dude?
the adult. You have to be the adult.
Yeah.
You
Trust me.
Right.
I went to a boarding school where the teachers were 21
Right.
and some of the students were 19. So we had
Right.
all kinds of people getting fired and or kids getting sent home. There was all kinds of shenanigans because even I knew that no, this ain't right. This ain't right.
No. It's not appropriate.
Young girls are flexing their sexuality, and maybe they've had sex with other boys, but this is a whole different thing. This is power dynamics.
Absolutely.
And girls don't understand men, and clearly there's something wrong. This is what I tell kids. No disrespect, kiddo, but why is a man in their 30s interested in someone who is your age?
Absolutely.
I mean, take a look at the whole world. I mean, but for high school kids, it's like a power trip. It is a power trip. It's so flattering, especially if they have no daddy at home. I mean, even if they do have a daddy at home, it's power. It makes them feel powerful and special and all of this. And as a mature adult, you have to be able to be smart enough to see that, or there is something wrong with you.
Well, I mean, look. Even if you don't go into
oh my God,
deep,
this podcast is a laugh riot.
I know I warned you. I warned you. Okay.
The whole time watching this, I'm like, how are we going to be riffing and scatting? And
no question. Let me ask you this: did you ever think that maybe he was innocent?
Oh no, he's messaging her on the internet, guilty.
This is the thing. This was an issue in the early aughts with all that instant messenger stuff on the computer. People you go to a chat room, you're chit-chatting with somebody. That was like To Catch a Predator, if you remember that show.
Oh my God, that reminds me of 30 Rock. Remember, she's watching Liz Levin's watching To Catch a Predator, and there's her boyfriend with flowers going, hey, is Candy home?
Well, it was always some horror show where, again, it was a sting operation only with cops, and there'd be some long haul trucker pulling up to the house with like booze and candy, saying, "Yeah, is Susie home?" Oh, come
and a Costco pack of condoms and stuff.
Costco pack. And they'd be like, "Hey, I'm in the shower. Come on in." And they walk in, and then the dude would come out in the suit, going like, "And what are you doing here?" kind of thing. And the guys would always bolt, realize what's going on, and then get gang tackled by 15 sheriff's deputies.
And they ain't bolting. They're not bolting because, I didn't realize she was so young. No,
they know. They know. The moment the dude comes out and is like, "And who are you?" And, you didn't ask any questions about this person. They know. There's no surprise.
I think about these guys hitting on high school girls in their 30s the same way I think about these old guys that are bringing in these young wives from Thailand. Because any adult would obviously red flag there's something wrong with this dude. So you either need to get children or people who don't speak English and don't know the culture to realize what a freaking loser you are. Like a psycho you are.
We've talked about 90 Day Fiance. If you're like, there's nobody in this nation of 375 million people that could possibly connect with me, I've got to go overseas to find somebody who doesn't speak English. That's my only chance for love. Anyway.
American women are too uppity. They're too independent. Okay, so your plan is to just kidnap some poor girl from El Salvador and lock her in your bedroom.
It's a horror story.
It's a horror story.
Okay.
No, the minute he's messaging and she lays it all out. I've been watching you. Once they're like 16, 17, 18, you drop them.
Yes.
You are seeking out as young as possible.
Right.
So
she's 14. The moment I tell you I'm 15, that's too old. 14 is the limit.
Exactly.
And it's true. It's like her like screen name was like Thong Girl or something like that. It was something very like explicit. But then, by the way, I'm 14. How's that grab you? Still interested? Okay. Yeah.
He's like 100%. Oh my God. And I can relate this. I'm telling you, this is with all the shaving of the pubic hair. Every time I hear people are all into that, I'm like, because you don't want to have sex with women? Is that what it is? You just want to pretend you're with a child? Is that it? Because that's what a Brazilian says to me, that you're half a pedo.
This is lovely. You're at least half a pedo.
Oh, half a pedo if you're requiring a hairless woman, because what you're looking for is not, in fact, a woman at all.
He was
a child.
This is true.
Hashtag
He was very cool though when they were at the coffee shop, like loudly flirting. It's just like he's bold as brass.
Disgusting. He was disgusting.
Right.
First of all, he looked just like Anthony Edwards, which makes it even twice as creepy. And then he walks up and wipes his thumb across her mouth and then licks it. If someone, I'm a single person. Perhaps I'll go on another date. And if someone did that to me, I would have pushed them on the ground, kicked them in the head, and got
first time you're meeting them in person.
First time meeting them in person, I would have been all, "You're a half rapist. Goodbye."
Yes. Oh, no question. No question. So she drugs him, ties him to a chair, and then starts looking through the house for kind of evidence. And she quickly surmises. She's like, I don't find any porn at all. You're a relatively young guy. Don't all guys have some stash somewhere?
Well, Kevin, do they?
I can't comment on that. That's
when you said that, I was like, well, do they? But there's the internet, you know.
Right. This is 2005. 2005, you had to have a paper bag in the back of your closet.
Yeah, you don't need hard copies of anything anymore. You got your phone. You can just sit in bed with your phone.
That is the cold hard
truth. Sit on the bus or whatever men do with their pornography.
We call that progress. Anywho, but then she finds his secret hidden safe in the rock garden. What the hell was that little area?
That was some kind of groovy Zen. It reminded me. Okay, first of all, his house looked bullshit. The house looked like a set.
Well, they said that this is what he works from. Like models come over, and this is like, that's why he has like the pictures of all the nymphettes on the wall.
I understand. To me, it looked like a budgety film because it didn't look like a real house.
Well, we're going to talk about this. This is important.
But what the Zen rock garden reminded me of is growing up in like the 70s in Palm Springs, where you would have these weird atriums in the middle of your living room. Yes. So it kind of gave me that Zen. Plus, it's kind of like that cold kind of modern thing that men like.
Right.
And he's a single man. I looked at that place, besides thinking it looked fake, was this clearly no woman has ever lived in this house.
You know what? I can go a step further. Typically, when you find these dudes who are like pushing 50, unmarried, never married, you can always tell. Like Becky and I bought our first place, this condo in Irvine, and from a single bachelor, confirmed bachelor, and it was literally like, the strange things that
bachelor, you weren't even 30 yet.
I'm talking about the guy we bought the house from.
Oh, I thought you were talking about yourself.
No.
Go ahead.
No, a confirmed bachelor buying a place with Becky.
I was like, how old were you?
That makes sense.
When you met Becky?
No, and it was like, it's the weird accoutrements that dudes care about, like the really expensive TV and stereo and things like that. Other stuff just crap. Weird shag carpeting, and of course, like the Hooters calendar posted prominently in the kitchen, where you're just like, I'm single. I'm always going to be single. I don't giza. It's a horror show.
Poor Hooters man.
But what's funny is how he talks about, I've done landscape photography and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, but I noticed the only pictures you choose to hang up are all of these underage girls.
And it is weird. I mean, I have a lot of my art hanging up, but I have other stuff.
Hopefully.
You know what I mean? I don't just have like 6 pictures and then there's nothing else in my house.
Well, he says it's like, this is my resume when people walk in so they can see the type of pictures that I shoot, I guess.
and he's in his bedroom, in his kitchen. There's nothing. You figure creative people like color, like this, like that. I mean, it's cold and empty, just like his soul.
Oh, I'm looking at my notes. So they were talking about this band called Goldfrapp.
Yes.
He's like, hey, I got the bootleg album of Goldfrapp, and I kept writing, is that a real band?
Is it?
I don't know. I'm not going to Google it either. But Goldfrapp.
Man, I mean, maybe I'm out of touch, but no.
You're out of touch.
Well, wasn't it Goldfarb or something from Seinfeld or something?
Goldfrapp is Goldfarb, I think is what we're trying to say. But she gets him on the fact that she wouldn't mention some obscure pop culture that a 14-year-old would be interested in.
It's real.
Is it real?
It's an electronic duo.
No offense, Goldfrapp, if you happen to be listening. She would mention some obscure pop, culture thing that a 14-year-old would care about, and then it would be like a pause long enough for him to Google it or whatever, and then he'd be like very knowledgeable in whatever the Goldfrapp of the day is. So interesting to say the least. What else? Oh, let's. You want to talk about the castration scene?
No, I want to go back to the Goldfrapp because she called him up, and it's 100% true. Apps, there are so many scammers where literally they claim to be from Bakersfield, but are clearly have an accent and don't know anything about it. So every time you would ask them a question, I would ask a question about Bakersfield. It was always at least 5 minutes before they could respond because they're Googling it.
Yes.
Googling. It's a classic bullshit scam.
Google is the current Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yeah.
Where they whisper in little Christian's ear and tell him what to say. That's exactly right. Just be who you are, pedos. Except for that part of your life, I guess. Don't do that part. Sweet Lord. Let's talk about the castration scene. Oh, sweet Lord. That is a scary scene. And there's the reveal that she didn't really do anything. But
I missed that. She didn't?
No, because when he frees himself finally, he reaches down and says, I'm all there. I'm all there. I'm all here, or something along those lines.
But he was wincing and he seemed to feel it all.
No, because she iced him. She had the ice on his Zach for so long that he was just numb.
Okay, let me tell you.
She would do stuff like, you'll feel pull here.
Okay. So what did you put in the disposal?
That's my question. Because there appears to be blood. And then she holds up, like she has like 2 shot glasses with something in each one that she throws in the garbage disposal. I don't know. That's what I wrote. What if she didn't actually do that to him? Then what did she have, like stage blood that she was? Because she was like supposedly
there was blood everywhere. Yeah, there was blood everywhere.
She was supposedly videotaping it, but when he escaped, he hit eject, and it was like a video of like a medical castration video.
Right. Oh,
so it wasn't really.
You're right. I missed that whole thing. I thought she was watching a step-by-step.
She was trying. I mean, I guess she was just torturing him without physically doing anything to him.
All right.
Just the idea of it.
I mean, the castration is easy enough. I mean, my kids were in 4-H. I've watched goats being castrated.
It always comes back to the goat and the rubber band with you, doesn't it?
No, even better, our leader would use her teeth because she could do it with a pocket knife and her teeth. Boom.
That sounds lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
She literally said, it's just easy if I just use my teeth. I'm like, go for it, but I'm going to be watching.
They did something like that on Dirty Jobs, where they had him do it as part of the. Luckily, she didn't do that on this show. Sweet Lord, sweet Lord. Let's see. What else do I talk about? Did you notice that his hands? What's his name? Patrick Wilson's hands were like purple whenever he was tied up because he's really tied up and he's really kind of thrashing around like that was legit.
Well, the whole time, at one point, she acted like she was going to hang him in the kitchen, and I was like, "This is the worst side. No one's going to think he really hung himself because he clearly has ligature marks on his wrists.
Right.
So no matter what happens, they may not link it to her, but no matter what happens, no one's going to think it's like a true suicide."
I love how we're talking about ligature marks. What are we, CSI Miami up in here?
For sure.
Good Lord. So, I mean, her plan always, in retrospect, is to kind of drive him to despair so that he commits suicide.
Yeah, she reaches out to the girlfriend he'd been stalking. He's so ashamed.
Now, what's the story? That was like the one big love of his life? Is that what we're supposed to think?
We're supposed to think that she's the one that got away, and who knows what she found out. You know what I mean?
Right. So he had pictures of her. I mean, thank goodness he had the date written on the back of that photograph. Or she never would have been able to open up his crazy safe.
I thought she was dead because I assumed the dates on the back of the photographs are when he killed them.
So,
but then she showed up.
Right.
But why would she show up? Oh, because of that email. She called and gave all that information.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Because
that's part of it. That's what's supposed to be the final straw.
Right.
Where it's like, she's going to walk in the door and see all of your stuff. Because we know halfway through the movie, we know for a fact that he's into kitties.
Right.
No question. We know that. So then it becomes a question of, yes, we know this, but is he involved in that girl's disappearance? Because he's denying it all through the movie. Deny.
But because what advantage does he have of saying yes?
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, it's going to get him. Things are only going to get worse the minute he tells the truth.
Right. You're right. She's not offering him anything.
No.
She's just accusing him as she's going in there.
And I have to assume before you start reaching out to young girls, you're probably already downloading stuff off, 8chan, 4chan, 2chan.
I don't think those existed back then, but let's just assume that's what they're doing now. Yeah, it's definitely 2Chain. But now that the ex-girlfriend or whatever, love interest, is showing up at his doorstep, she's like, if you hang yourself now, I will, after you're dead, I will go and dispose of all your paraphernalia,
right?
If you will. So no one has to know. No one has to know. And finally, he does it. But what's interesting is when he says, like, it wasn't me, it was the other guy.
I just watched.
So it's because the girl's missing. So it's not clearly it's not just.
Right, it's a murder.
Pedophilia, it's murder. It's murder to hide the crime, basically. I just watched. And that's when the reveal is, yeah, I already spoke to him, and he said you were the one.
Yeah.
Right before he killed himself.
Uh-huh.
Bam! That was the hammer. What's interesting is the fact that she's on the phone earlier going like, yeah, you want to meet up for a movie? I should be done here earlier than I thought.
Compartmentalized. She's clearly a psychopath.
Right. This is no big deal. Things are proceeding just the way she wants.
And it's wrapping up early.
And then it's wrapping up early.
It's easier than she thought.
Yeah.
Well, Ted Bundy had friends. You still got to work your social life with your main job,
Do we know what her connection is to the missing girl? Are they're friends?
We don't know. We have no idea.
We don't know how she found him either. Well,
no.
I guess she got the name from the other guy, but we don't know how she found that guy.
We don't know how she found the other guy.
Right.
And then on top of that, how many people has she? Because they always claim that there's always these secret groups of these pedos that pass information and pictures around and around and around. So we don't know how many people, because she didn't get any new names from him.
No. This one, evidently. So there's some connection. I feel I should say right now, I've been using feminine pronouns to describe what's her name? Haley, played by Elliot Page. He has since come out as a transgender man. That's why it's Elliot Page and not Ellen Page anymore. I don't know.
But the character is female.
The character's female. That is correct.
And the actor was, I don't know, female at the time. So does everything is retroactive?
I mean, it's complicated, but I just figured I would say that just so people know. Any other thought? Anything you want to say about the plot of this movie before we go behind the scenes?
It was unexpected. It was very good. It's very tense. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not horror as in monsters and the undead. It's more crime horror. It's more, what would you call it? Suspense.
It's suspense, but it is definitely vaguely reminiscent of kind of a Hostel, Saw, but not nearly as grisly, obviously. But it's that same kind of tension. You know what I mean?
It's like a Dexter.
It is. It is.
I'm telling you, it'll make you tense. It made my tummy hurt.
It's very well done. It is very well. The acting is amazing.
100%.
I like. It's not a feel good film, and it's not something to invite the whole family to watch.
No,
that's for sure.
Don't watch it right before bed.
Right. You don't see anything. Like I say, it's not grisly. But there's the implications
the
are upsetting.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
you really don't see, even when she finds evidence of his pedophilia, you don't see it.
Yeah,
she just talks about it. Oh, what's this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, behind the scenes. You ready?
All right, ready.
Due to the controversial nature of this film, the budget was kept under $1 million, so the studio wouldn't ask to change anything.
Okay,
they did that on purpose.
Ever heard there's this movie called Lolita by Kubrick? Do you think he kept it under budget?
Yeah, that's Stanley Kubrick.
And you don't think the topic was controversial?
My
life, my love, my sin, my soul.
This guy's not Kubrick. Let's just say that. Let me see. Patrick Wilson, when he's filming the scene where Haley's pointing the gun at him and he's screaming, "You're not going to shoot me. You're not going to shoot me." They had to do 5 takes to get it right. After they were called the cops. Because they were concerned that a real attack was going down. The screenplay's inspiration came from Japan. I know, shocking.
The
producer
jacked up over there, man.
They do
jacked up.
The producer had read reports of Japanese school pushing men who surf the internet for underage girls.
Oof.
And actually, the term hard candy is like internet slang for underage girls.
I was wondering where that came from. Yikes.
Some working titles were Vendetta and Snip Snip.
Okay, those were ridiculous names. And we already have V for Vendetta. Snip Snip. That's what a stupid name.
This the first draft of the screenplay is the one that was used. So there you go.
All right. I mean, it was solid.
Filmed in 18 days. And due to the intense emotional and physical content of most of the rest of the movie, Elliot Page said the hardest scenes were had to eat tiramisu. You have to do multiple takes. You have to keep eating it.
Yeah, needed it.
Yeah. And you know why that bar was called Nighthawks?
Why? No.
The T-shirt she bought is that famous painting, Nighthawks.
I said that at the beginning of this whole review. I thought you.
Well, that's why I said. You know, that's why it was called, and you're no, I have no idea.
Well, I thought it was something else. Like, why was that bar in the painting? I'm like, of course it's Nighthawks. I saw all that.
Yeah. There you go.
Come on, brother. You ain't dealing with
come on to you
here. That's
right. The iconic Red Hooded shirt used in the movie. People think
Little Red Riding Hood. Red Riding Hood, Big Bad Wolf.
People think it's that. Actually, the hood was orange. It was accidentally color corrected, so there was no secret meaning.
Well, now there is. I don't care.
You can't add
Everybody's
secret
wrong. I'm adding secret meaning. Well, because sometimes people are dumb, and now I've corrected it. It's totally Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf.
Okay. The initial audition by Elliot Page was off-putting because he'd shaved his head for a previous role. But when he donned a wig, then they're like, okay, now you're the one. You got it. But for some reason,
what role?
Bald-headed Joe. I don't know. I'm not doing that kind of research.
All right. Thank you, sir.
The scenes in Jeff's house were shot mostly in chronological order, which makes sense. When you're dealing with this kind of emotion, you got to let it build.
And when you have a cast of 2.
Right. Absolutely. Let's see. The coffee bar, Nighthawks.
Yes.
The same set was used for the apartment. They just redressed it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Sandra Oh is in this movie. She's the neighbor who comes to deliver the Girl Scout cookies.
And Anne is a witness to this child.
Yes.
So there's going to be a manhunt.
Well, but would there be a manhunt? I mean, he committed suicide.
They committed suicide. He's a pedophile. There was a young girl answering the door. Where is she?
Oh, that's true.
Sir?
That's a good point. Sandra Oh agreed to do this small, because it's a tiny part, mainly because of her relationship with Elliot Page, because they're both Canadian. Those damn Canadians love each other. They work together.
Like a secret handshake or something?
There's a secret. It's the way you pronounce your O's. A boot. Sorry.
Good day, eh?
Good day, you hoser.
You hoser.
Let me see. 300 girls auditioned for the role of Haley. Haley's supposed to be 14. Elliot Page at the time was 17. And originally in the script, Haley's supposed to be 12. But they thought Elliot did not look young enough to pull that off.
No, she didn't look 14. Solid job acting, but
dynamite. I think it's about it. Let's see. Let's talk about the cast. Patrick Wilson played what's his character? I don't even know what his character's name. Jeff.
I'm hiding from Patrick Wilson for next time, the next Conjuring 25 that we are in fact going to go see. I am only going to think about this. Patrick Wilson and his testicles. That's all I'm going to think about.
Here's the thing. The new Conjuring movie is coming out in June.
I'm down.
It's going to be on HBO Max for a short period of time as well. Make it even easier.
All right. Rock and roll.
Let's see. Like I said, prior to this, he was primarily known as like a theater actor. He was nominated for Tony Awards and things like that. A
song and dance man.
Song and dance. Christopher Walken is a song and dance man, if you want to be knocked off your feet. Before this, like I said, he'd done The Alamo and The Phantom of the Opera. Immediately after this is when he started to do other things like Children of Little Children.
Children of the Corn.
Not Children of the Corn. Insidious, The Conjuring. He's kind of considered a Scream king nowadays, if you will.
Well, I agree.
Elliot Page, let me see. He did Juno 2 years after this. Right after this, he did X-Men The Last Stand.
Oh my God. I had the X-Men Last Stand about 5 years ago. That was my last stand. The X-Men.
And he was in Inception, X-Men Days of Future Past, Juno,
I love Juno. Love Juno.
Juno is great. I think that's all we need to talk about. Sandra Oh, you know her. She was in Sideways, Grey's Anatomy, Under a Tuscan Sun, Killing Eve more recently. The list goes on and on.
What's Killing Eve about?
Killing Eve is on Hulu. She is like a Interpol agent chasing an international assassin.
All right.
So check it out. We watched a couple episodes. It's critically acclaimed.
The fact that you only watched a couple episodes and threw in that it was critically acclaimed is not sounding good.
Well, there's only so many hours in the day.
Son of a biscuit.
There you have it. So, there you have it.
I thought we were going to talk about...
You're right. We talked about this briefly. what I've been doing, first of all, I bought a book on podcasting for Erin on how to grow our audience. She promptly threw the book in the trash. So we're
It's
kind of
in
winging
my
it.
briefcase that I carry to work every day. And one day I will take it out and open it.
One day.
But I think it's important that it's with me. So there's probably some osmosis going on.
What I've started doing lately is whenever we finish a movie, a discussion on a movie, a podcast, I will go on Twitter and I will share the link to our podcast with, if the director is on Twitter or maybe some of the actors are on Twitter. For example, I shared the Buckaroo Banzai podcast with Clancy Brown, Ellen Barkin, and John Lithgow. So we'll see if they check it out.
And how many of them, in fact, followed you?
Nobody's followed me yet. So it's a, you plant the seeds and water the seeds and let time pass and see what happens. Now, you said you did that with Dave Chappelle or something, right?
Not Dave Chappelle. All right. So, little known fact.
Yes.
I have an Instagram account where I dress up as a pigeon and I take pictures of myself all across the world. And
you did not mishear that. As strange as it sounds, it's even stranger.
I ordered a pigeon mask off the internet, and I carry it with me wherever I travel.
Good times.
So I started tagging David LaChapelle, who started life as a fashion photographer and now is just an artiste. He's
much
still
like Patrick Wilson in this movie, right?
Please.
Go
So
ahead.
anyway, eventually he started following me, and then he would comment on my stuff. I showed it to our sister. She's like she couldn't believe it. She's like, "Who do you think is handling his Instagram account?" I'm like, "I think it's him."
Could be.
Because I would post something and he would say lovely things. And then a couple of things that went terribly wrong. One, I have a friend who David LaChapelle did this whole series with Michael Jackson where he is like Jesus. And he's Jesus, he's the devil, like he's a martyr.
Gotcha.
And so I had a friend who would make comments and negative comments about that. And then I had a random person follow me and was messaging me. "I see David LaChapelle is following you. What do you think about that?" And I said something stupid like, "Yeah, it's amazing." I'm like, I really thought I would get a lot more followers, but I really didn't. But I just something off the cuff. He unfollowed me the next day.
Boom.
Oh, so watch what you say, people. I regret it. Every now and then I'll tag him on something. And
no, you burned that bridge. You burned it.
Last time I did it, he wrote back. It says, "I miss you."
I miss you every day. Why did you bite the hand that feeds you?
Exactly. I'm like, Aaron, stupid, because now I just bought a zine from him, and he was working with one of his followers from Instagram who wanted to start a fine art zine, and David helped him out and licensed a bunch of his artwork and promoted the zine.
Very cool.
So could have been me if I hadn't screwed it up. Either that or he followed me because I just started getting boring. So anything's possible.
6 of one, half dozen of the other. The
100%.
Rotten Tomatoes rating.
No, so what we're saying is celebrities. Go ahead and follow us.
Check it out.
Check it out, Brother Bears. Are you tagging that crazy podcast that you listen to? How did this thing get made?
No, I don't. I have.
You're just harassing Ellen Barkin? Is that what it is?
I'm not going to tag like a podcast that does something similar to us.
Oh, well,
hey, I talked about that too. I'm not doing that. That makes no sense.
I guess you're right.
I have tagged stuff to Joe Bob Briggs and Darcy the Mail Girl, though, because I know there's certain things that they're interested in. So I go,
Right.
hey, check it out.
Check it out, Joe.
Anywho.
Joe Bob says check it out.
Joe Bob says, check it out. Hard Candy currently has a 67% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Although the audience
67,
skated 78%. I think this is an excellent film.
Yeah,
I do. I think it's excellent.
Very disturbing and very gripping.
It's not something I need to watch again.
Nope. I don't, my stomach hurts thinking about it right now.
Right. It's not something I want to watch again. But if you haven't seen it and you're into kind of horror, I would say check it out. But
if you like Silence of the Lambs, you'll probably like this. It's that just
Again,
high freaking tension.
high tension.
It's not gory.
Even
You don't see dead bodies.
No.
You see a little tiny bit of blood. You don't see any child porn. It's just
No.
It's all off scene. Even when he
this-
kills himself, you don't see it.
You don't see it. Right. You don't see it. The
But
subject
it's just
matter,
high tension.
Right. Well, the subject
oh,
matter's upsetting, obviously.
Within 5 minutes, I was like, "Oh, how are we gonna do this?"
The moment he meets her, did you?
You're like, "Oh shit!"
Right. You knew what it was kind of about going in, though, right?
I did not know anything about it,
really?
including who was in it. I knew nothing about it. I had written down Hard Candy so long ago that I had no idea.
Yeah, I knew what it was about going in. Sometimes I'll hear the name of a movie. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. And then I'll promptly Wikipedia it, and I'll read everything that happens. Because I figure I'm never going to watch this. And then time passes, and then I come back to it. So I kind of remembered the broad strokes. So.
Someone sent me a list of horror movies. I was like, great. So which one's your favorite? Oh, I haven't seen them. People, don't send me movies that you haven't seen. I can make a list of movies that I've never seen and hand that off.
That's not helpful.
Give me a recommendation of something that you thought was great that I may not be aware of. Don't give me just like a rando.
Throw us the occasional doppelganger.
Oh yeah, Heather said, I never said it was my favorite movie. I'm like, yes you did, and you made us watch it.
I enjoyed watching Doppelganger because it was so
goofy.
Ridiculous.
So ridiculous.
So there you have it. Go to our page on Facebook.
I haven't done our rating yet. What's happening, Kevin?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Dear Jesus.
You keep sidetracking me. Go ahead.
I know.
What's your rating?
It's a very special attention deficit edition.
It's true.
I am going to give it. Let me see here. I'm going to give it 3 balls down the garbage disposal out of 5.
3 balls. I think that was what I was going to say. Because anything else would be too upsetting. Good Lord. Yeah, I'll give it. Yeah, I would say I might give it 7 out of 10 balls going down the garbage disposal. I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it, but it's not something I need to see again. I guess is the moral of the story. You know what I'm saying?
Understand.
So check it out.
It's like Schindler's List. Do you just watch that over and over again? No, I think not. And if you do, I probably don't need to know you.
That is sad but true. So there you have it. Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcastTWDie. Email us at thepodcastthatwouldn'tdie@gmail. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. Aaron, you are on social media as well.
All right. So the aforementioned pigeon Instagram account is Don't Feed the Pigeon. David LaChapelle, if you're out, follow me again. I'll do better. I'm also the Cult of Aaron for non-pigeon related artwork. And I am the Cult of Aaron on Twitter also.
So
don't even look for me on Facebook because I'm already dumping people left and right. Ideally, in the end, I will have 4 people on my Facebook.
That is the ideal number, I find.
I hate
No,
Facebook.
Facebook
And I
blows.
hate that Facebook owns everything else.
Right. Because they own Insta, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Facebook sucks. It was funny about Facebook. As many of you know, I'm a middle school teacher. I'd talk about Facebook and the kids in class would roll their eyes. Kids do not like Facebook is for old people. It's basically
100%.
It's basically for old right wingers is who Facebook is catering to. So keep that in mind.
So the more sophisticated kids will be like, do you still have a MySpace page, miss?
Just to mess with you. Yeah.
You're just the best.
That's okay, boomer is what that is, basically. So there you have it. Thank you very much and be well.
Later, Gator.